I'm happy, and thank you, caterers, but I'm happy there's two things that I will not have the rest of my life for food groups. I did have 18 surgeries. I forgot that. 18 surgeries, and within a 7-day period, there was 5 of them. They always would cut me off at midnight. Now, Mr. White, you can't drink any water, but I did. Finally, I said, you know what, if it happens, it happens. And at midnight, they'd cut me off, and the surgery would happen the next morning, and they'd say, okay, Mr. White, you can have Jell-O and broth. So for a number of days in a row, I had Jell-O and broth. So thank you, caterers, for not having Jell-O and broth. All the way back from avid hunter, my brother and my youngest son who's in dental college at UNMC. We're coming back and pulling a trailer full of goose decoys. And you really got me into goose hunting because it was jam-packed with goose decoys. Well, we had some problems just outside of York, Nebraska 3 years ago. And pulled over on the side of the interstate, went in, got a new trailer hitch at York, Nebraska in the Walmart, came back, and I remember plugging in electricity. 30 seconds I would have been back in the car. 30 seconds. I'm almost positive it would have been 30 seconds or less. Woke up 4 days later in the intensive care unit of Ryan West, and I'm looking at all these tubes and these bags, and I'm going, why am I here? And I had no recollection, and to this day I don't even remember the accident, so blessed be that, because I don't want to remember. Everybody goes, don't you want to remember? I said, no, I don't want to remember. Why would I want to do that? Well, finally, after a number of days, I think it was day 32 or 33, they said, your kidney's failing, your hemoglobin's down to about 4. We can't even amputate right now because we tried to save the leg. Plus, I had a Harry Potter scar, a skull fracture, I had a fractured pelvis, fractured tailbone. So, the worst thing that hurt was my rear. Now, I'm okay, but I had to take a little cushion around with myself. But the number of bags, we've kind of figured out that I went through, and thank you very much for helping, because probably some of you here, I'm part of you, or you're in me, I guess, somewhere between 85 and 90 bags of blood. So, at one point, the nurses always came in, and then I had the routine down. They'd ask, okay, who's your name? Blah, blah. What's your blood type? Blah, blah, blah. And I just go, before they even ask a question, I just check off about 3 or 4 statements, and they say, okay. You know, after a few bags, it just became, it became normal after the 18 surgeries. The units at Ryan West, and I was skipping between the intensive care and progressive care back and forth during the 46 days. Up and down, up and down. Finally, I pleaded with my orthopedic surgeon. I said, please, after the amputation, I don't want to go back to intensive care. I've been there, I don't like it. And so they put me on progressive care, and then finally I went to the 3rd floor at Ryan West, and it was nice, it was the rehab. But those people are tough. I mean, they work yet. And during the period, I still work out in the cardio room at Lincoln High in the fitness room. And I was an avid jogger, lifter, and they kept telling me it's going to take 3 days for every day that you're on your back to come back. And I said, no, I'll be back sooner. I think it was longer than 3 days. I think I lost 43, 44 pounds during that. That's that Jell-O and broth. Solid food did not taste very good to me for a long period of time. But I think without your help in the community blood bank, I wouldn't be here today. Those 85, 90 units of blood was amazing. They just kept coming and kept coming and kept coming. I do remember one point waking up, and I don't remember if it was after my amputation of my leg or one of the other 17 surgeries. I think my wife, my angel over here, actually had to help the nurse because the bags were up here, and I think I was in the post-op. But I needed to have a number of units before I could go back up to intensive care again. So she actually, I think they were hand pumping it. And my nurse, after so many bags, I think her hands were shocked. And I think my wife, if I remember, I was kind of half in and half out, did help the nurse actually put some of the blood back into me. I don't know if it was two or three bags, but I kind of in and out at that point, and so I do remember that very vividly. I'm going to have them strike up a video here. Do we have any avid golfers? Raise your hand, please. Oh, do you putt very well? Good putters? All right. Anybody that has soccer, coaches soccer, or has grandkids soccer? Anybody? Okay. All right. Anybody ever dove off the diving board? All right. The video is an interesting one. It's about 7 minutes. I showed this to my track kids this year, and it was the only time I think I could hear a mouse crawl across the floor. So I'll let you watch the video, and then we'll kind of finish up.
I wasn't ready. I have no arms and no legs, but I'm very thankful that I have my little chicken drumstick here. People freak out when they see me for the first time. It's so cool. I was at a water slide all by myself. Everyone obviously at the bottom of the slide is looking up and waiting for other people to come down, and here I come, and they're freaking out. They're like, you know, like this. And I was so tempted to look at myself and go, what happened? You know? And there were times where I sort of looked at my life and thinking, well, I can't do this and I can't do that. And you keep on concentrating on the things that you wish you had, or the things that you wish you didn't have. And you sort of forget what you do have. And there's no point, I believe, in my life where I wish I had arms, legs, I wish I had arms, legs, I wish I had arms, legs, because wishing won't help. But what I've seen in life are just a couple key principles, and the first thing that I've seen is to be thankful. It's hard to be thankful, man. I tell you, when I was 8 years old, I sort of summed up my life and thought, I'm never going to get married. I'm not going to have a job. I'm not going to have a life of purpose. What kind of a husband am I going to be if I can't even hold my wife's hand? It's a lie to think that you're not good enough. It's a lie to think that you're not worth anything. Oh boy. Woo! It's freezing. I can't feel my hands. I love life. You know, so many people come and say, how come you smile so much? And I'm like, well, it's a long story. But it's very simple at the same time. You see, it's very hard to smile sometimes in life. There are things that happen that you don't know and you don't understand, and you don't know if you're going to get through it. You know, you go through your storms in life and you don't know how long this storm is going to be. And today I want to share with you some principles that I've learned in my life that you can use in yours. Being patient is beautiful. I tell you, it's the hardest thing. But I realize I may not have hands to hold my wife's hand, but when the time comes, I'll be able to hold her heart. I don't need hands to hold her heart. You know, it is scary to know how many girls have eating disorders. It is scary to know how many people are just angry at life because of their situation at home and angry at others. It's scary to know how many people actually feel like they're worth nothing. Every single girl right here, right now, I want you to know that you are beautiful. You are gorgeous just the way you are. And you boys, you're the man.
I didn't mention he didn't have the arms, hands, and legs and feet, did I? Amazing young man. And that's why my athletes, after they watched that, I just waited 30 seconds and nobody said anything. So I think it kind of hit home. You donors out there, I would not be here today. And think of all the other people probably that you helped. So making sure, hang on. I'm just going to leave you with something that we kind of started this year at Lincoln High with the T word. Fear none and respect all. And because of you donors, fear none and respect all. Thank you.